Yeah. Before we go on, I'm gonna make it clear that I am not on the pro life side. I still don't even know where I land on this topic, but I have to say I'm more on the pro choice side, just because of all the negative implications that could happen to women
Yeah.
that are seeking an abortion for health reasons or for like other reasons such as like getting raped, stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I'm more on the pro choice side because I know like that this thing has a lot of negative repercussions.
Yeah.
But today I have to play the devil's advocate.
Mm-hmm.
I have to because you're on the pro-choice side. I'm on the pro-choice side. So we have to at least
There's
get the
always
other
yeah.
opinion on
There's
this.
always two sides to it.
So what do you say about the fact that some people view this as like you're killing a life, like you're ending a life by going through with an abortion? What do you think about that?
In a sense, to me, it's kind of hypocritical, especially it's from people who eat animals and stuff like that. Like me, I don't put too much thought into that. But if you guys want to play that game, you can say the same thing about an animal, And animals have consciousnesses too, obviously. You can see that an animal has emotions. Like,
Yeah.
what makes a difference? Then this is not even an animate, like, being or creation yet, Like,
Yeah.
it has no consciousness yet. Like, do you remember being a fetus? I mean, I know I don't.
That's true. Yeah,
Right? You know what I mean?
Yeah. So what do you consider then a life to be? Like, when do you draw the line? Like, what's considered a life and what's not? Like, how many weeks during this process?
I
Is
mean,
it as soon as the baby has the heartbeat, or is it as soon as this baby is able to perceive a thought? Because
Yeah.
can we really tell how far in during the developmental stages we can produce a conscious thought?
I mean, you can just say when was the last thing you remember something. When was your first memory, your
Dude.
first thought?
If that's the case,
That's what I'm saying, like-
we should be fucking.
No,
Because
no.
I can't remember shit after like before 10 years old.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying though. Like before that, like what do you even remember to be like, oh yeah, like we shouldn't be able to do this. Like we're already alive. There's no conscious in a fetus. Obviously, there's like a limit where I do feel like okay, like we shouldn't be able to do this anymore. And I'm pretty sure there's like I guess a medical timeline in which it's probably not even possible to do that.
Actually, there's some. I forgot what state it was, but Alex Jones was talking about it on the Joe Rogan podcast. There was this thing that passed. I forgot what state it is, but you could look it up. It's called like post birth
Oh.
abortion, and like what was going on was basically doctors were ending like babies' lives after they were born already, and they were still calling it abortion. So it's like that's
I
not
mean,
even
that-
abortion. That's just you're killing a
Yeah.
baby like that was already born.
I mean, at that point, if it comes out of a woman, yeah, like what kind of shit is that? Obviously, but if it's ahead of time, it's planned, it's known. There's a chance that the woman would be endangered. A woman simply can't afford it, or simply doesn't want it. Who are like we to say, like, or force the woman to have the kid, raise the kid.
I've heard that
deal,
point.
deal with all the expenses because it's not cheap, man.
It's not cheap, but
It's not cheap.
at the same time, it's you're not gonna lose your home because you have a baby. There's gonna be a way. Some people even say that they benefit from having a baby because they push themselves even more.
Man, insurance right now, it's crazy.
What
It's
about
crazy.
third world countries? Having a
it's-
baby in a third world country, like what does that imply? That people could still have babies in third world countries and live under a roof.
Yeah, but what kind of conditions are you giving, What kind of conditions are you giving that child? Like, this is my thing right now, And we won't talk too much about this, but just to throw some numbers out there.
Okay.
Insurance right now for just a single person, it's about $440 that's per month. And that's 123% increase since like 2008, man.
Yeah.
And for a household, it's about a little north of $1,600. And this year, it's expected to rise at least another 9%.
Yeah.
That's a big number. And the thing is, a lot of these contraceptives and ways to avoid getting pregnant are pretty expensive, man. Like,
what do you mean?
Like if a girl's on a pill, it could be. It's not always expensive depending on your insurance, but it's anywhere from $20 to $800 annually for a woman to take birth control, and that's just a pill.
Skip all that. We don't have to even get to that stage if you use a condom. Condoms are inexpensive, man.
Exactly, dude. Condoms annually, and that's just saying you're having sex 3 times a week. 3 times a week, man.
Are you saying that people can't afford condoms?
No. I'm saying, okay, I'm comparing the price difference between what women have to pay and what men have to pay to avoid that, you know?
Okay.
So a man having sex 3 times a week is paying $200 annually on condoms, versus a woman anywhere from $20 to $800 on birth control, and that's one of the cheapest forms. Arguably, they say like the implant IUD is cheaper, but that goes for about, I think, starting like $1,300.
That's pretty expensive, man.
Yeah, like sterilization, which would be a vasectomy for men, is only $1,000. For a woman, a procedure similar to that starts at $6,000.
And why is that? Why are vasectomies much cheaper?
I mean, I'm not sure too much what goes on in both, but just that gap, it's pretty crazy, you know? And like the comparison versus a woman taking Plan B and a man using condoms every single time, like it's a pretty big difference in price, you know? And a lot of the times they say like, oh, well, just don't have sex, you know? But who's the one being told this? It's the women.
Okay, that sounds ridiculous. Not having sex is the worst argument you could formulate.
That's what I'm saying. Like, don't have sex. Like, you.
Okay, shit we could start with the simplest.
And the thing is that they tell women this, you know, like when has someone ever told like, or I've never really heard like guys be told like, oh, well, don't have sex if you don't want to have a kid, you know? They always assume that it's the girl's fault. Like, oh yeah, like I let myself get pregnant. Like, yeah, the guy, I'm pretty sure the guy wasn't like, oh nah, like let's use a condom, you know? Coming from a perspective, like there's times where you've been with someone for a while and you'll be like, okay, maybe, you know, like we don't have to. But I mean, obviously with random people, you know, you're going to use a condom. But when it's someone you've been with for a while, and you don't have protected sex, you don't use a condom, you know, like.
Well, why do you ever have to take that condom off? Why can't you always wear it until you're ready to have a baby?
I mean, that's the thing, though. That's what I'm saying. Like, guys don't get told that the way girls do. I feel like women are told, like, oh, well, just don't have sex. I don't think guys are ever, like, told, oh, just wear a condom, you know?
Well, in my subjective experience, in my personal experience, I've been an advocate for condoms because a lot of people get pregnant left and right, you know?
Yeah.
So I've told you, I've told Roger, I've told Damien, I've told everyone around me in my circle to wear a condom. And if they can't get any, or for whatever reason they don't have any when they're about to go do something with a random person, I always provide a condom because I always have condoms.
I've been offered.
You've been offered a condom?
I've been offered a condom.
All right. So you know that, like, okay, maybe other people, they're not like that, but I am, because I know the negative consequences that could arise after having sex without protection, you know? Yeah. You have to go through all this process about, you know, like, are we going to use Plan B? Is it going to be an abortion? Blah, blah, blah. You know, did I get this STI from you? Roger got an STI, you know? So it's like, you got to be careful. It's more than just getting pregnant, but condoms are
that's what I'm saying.
Useful tools, man.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. And something that's so useful like that, it's extremely cheap. And why is it for that? Women?
It's free at Planned Parenthood.
Exactly. And I'm pretty sure you can get like free Plan B or something, you know. I'm not too sure. I haven't really gone through all those
I think there are
situations, but like for the most part, if you're paying for it without health insurance, it can be from anywhere to $20 to $800. When condoms are like what? Like $12 a box.
Yeah.
And that's like what, 36? You can even get a fucking cheaper condoms at Costco.
So, okay.
It's like a big ass box.
The argument,
it's not that hard.
There's an argument that says, okay, well, one of the strongest arguments for some people is that why should women be penalized harshly for, or more harsher for abortion than a person that's committing rape, you know?
Yeah.
And okay, on the right, you have people saying, well, okay, let's start with the left perspective. The left perspective is, how come I have to serve time in jail and be penalized for having an abortion that's probably not even from her lover or whatever? It's probably from someone that raped her, and the rapists get away with this crime with much less repercussions than she has.
Yeah, and I'm not sure where, but they were trying to like introduce a bill that would allow or I don't even know if it's already in the process or actually like a live bill, but somewhere they were saying that the rapist can sue the mom.
Oh yeah, I heard about
the
that.
mom if she wants to have an abortion.
Yeah.
I'm like, what kind of fucking shit is that, man? Like, you know what I mean? Like, I get it. You can have your opinion. You can be pro-choice or pro-life, whatever. You can, formulate whatever opinion you want. But when it gets to shit like that, like, you gotta draw the line somewhere, man. Like
that just sound ridiculous.
That's some shit, man. And then there was like an Oklahoma like delegate, or I don't know what he is, but he's saying that rape is God's will.
I think they took that out of context, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I think he was referring to the process of like rape. So like, they were asking him questions about rape, and he was pretty much saying hold on. He was saying like, if it's God's will, then that happened. Pretty much, he's saying like shit happens. Like sometimes people get raped, and you can't stop every rapist by passing a bill or policy in place. People are gonna rape each other until the end of time. That's how it's gonna be. Rape has always existed in history, and it always will.
But when you have a platform like that, it's almost like you're saying, okay, like it's fine because it's bound to happen. I mean, obviously it's bound to happen. You're not gonna be able to be there at every situation. You're not gonna be able to like intervene every single time, But when you have a stage like that, when you have a voice or a certain power, to the degree that he does, and you're advocating or just simply saying like, oh, like it happens, like we can't stop every single one. Like obviously we can't stop every single one, but if you're on that stage saying stuff like that, it kind of makes people like less hesitant to do it, because it makes it not as like fucking ridiculous as it is.
I've seen a lot of people taking like quotes out of context from like all these Republicans. And have you seen that picture? Like it has like a bunch of quotes like in one. It's like a black picture, and it has like their pictures and then like 5 quotes.
No.
It's like 5 Republican quotes, and these are old quotes that have been like said a long time ago, and they've been taken out of context in separate times. It has nothing to do with this abortion bill at all. But people are posting them like to show people like, look, this is what the Republicans stand for. This is what the right stands for. But you have to understand that those are 5 people, and from different times, and they said it at different times, not close to this time. And like I said, 5 people out of how many people in Congress in the House of Representatives? 435. 5 out of 435 said that. So I mean, you said they have a lot of power in their voice, but I seriously doubt it, because they're part of a House of Representatives, which is made up of 435 people. So,
but
there it is.
Because you said it, whenever you said it, it doesn't excuse it, Like, you said what you said.
Yeah, and these are old guys, though. These are really old guys. You have to understand that these men were alive during Jim Crow laws. Of course, they're going to hold some of the value that they had during those times as well.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't necessarily make it right or excuse the behavior, Obviously, they said what they said.
No, I'm not saying it's right. Yeah, By no means am I saying it's right. All I'm saying is that these are those people.
Yeah.
That's it.
No, yeah, I understand the time they come from. It's a different generation. Like, different things were allowed. They grew up, in a different environment.
Yeah.
But it tells a lot about a person if they say something like that. If they're willing to say anything like that, even in public,
Of course.
Like, there's stuff that we would probably say that we wouldn't say in public on here,
Yeah.
It's just stuff that between us, like, everyone has those conversations, that you wouldn't say it out loud. You wouldn't say it around other people that you weren't comfortable with.
Yeah.
And it doesn't just pertain to like this thing or the whole abortion thing. It could be like racism, discriminations, and all that.
Yeah.
Like, even when you make jokes that are discriminatory, like, you wouldn't make them in front of other people, but you make them around the people you're comfortable with, and they for a fact that they're joking.
Yeah.
Like, you wouldn't say this shit seriously in front of a group of people. Like, shit.
Yeah.
That's.
Going back to that whole thing about like being penalized harshly or more harsher for having an abortion than for the people that are actually like raping the people. The reason that it's written that way in the policy is because they're taking like they're considering that life form as any other life form. So like, if you commit murder, you go to jail for life, or you can face the death penalty. Mm-hmm. And so if you end that life within the womb, they're treating that as if you're causing murder. So you're going to get the same sentencing as if you murdered a person, because you're ending a life, in their opinion. So that's why that's written that way. That's why they get worse times than the rapist itself.
It's pretty crazy though. Like, I mean, to me, it's not too comparable, but think about it. There's hundreds of people who hunt for sport, and they're hunting these animals to extinction. Like, obviously, there's a difference between a human life and an animal life, or at least to us, you know.
Or the value
the,
of
the
them.
value, yeah. We set a different value from animals and from ourselves,
Yeah.
and these people are out there hunting whole fucking species to extinction. And
Which
they're
is
awa-
it's
and they're-
illegal
they're-
though.
Yeah, and they're awarded for it. You know.
What do you
They-
mean?
They take those head homes, they import them, they pay fees, they do what they have to do. They take those heads as trophies,
Yeah.
and it's pretty amazing. You know how people can be like,
Well,
oh
they're-
yeah,
they're-
who are we to take a life? You know, like,
Well, actually,
they don't have that same
in
energy.
some countries
when
they're
talking
not
about,
they're not
you know?
rewarded for that though. In some
Oh, I
countries
know.
there's poachers
Yeah.
and there's people that get killed
Yeah.
as a poacher. Like there's rebels that kill the poachers like that, and they have the legal rights to do that, like in places like in Africa.
But they're militias. They're not, you know, they're not government provided.
they're organized by the people.
Yeah, the government could give two fucks.
Exactly, but what I'm trying to
Because they're
say is
paying
that
those fees for
what
their
I'm trying to say
exporting-
though is that they're not giving them a prize, or they're not like showing them like, oh, this is a reward. The government's not supporting this, and the community is not either.
The government is like, it's not intervening. It's mostly the people. And that's where it all starts, you know. Like, I feel like now more than anything, these movements are starting on social media, you know, and they're becoming big. They're becoming strong, you know. They're being heard.
Movements like, or what do you mean like?
Just in general, like this whole abortion thing. Like, imagine maybe 5-6 years ago, it'd be a big thing, but not the way it is now because of Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. You know,
Yeah.
people are allowed to more freely express what they feel about it, and connect with more people at the same time. Versus back then, you know, when we had MySpace, like.
Yeah.
What are you gonna post, you know, on your status? Like, oh, I hate this abortion law.
Yeah.
You know, little emoji and shit. But now it's like this gets so big and so much attention because of all this social media expansion, and it's crazy. You know, same thing. It's a good thing. You know,
Yeah.
it's a good way to make people aware of what's going on. And like you said, you know, there's a lot of like headlining and, you know, and referencing to old quotes, I guess.
Yeah.
But I think it's useful. Like, you want to know what a person has done in their past, you know,
Yeah.
in order to correctly judge whether what they have to say is valid or not.
Yeah. A lot of people are pointing to like religion to solve this problem. Like the people that are on the right say the reason that we're considering this murder is because, like, according to Christianity, like a fetus in the womb is already considered alive. You know what I mean? And I don't necessarily completely discount religion in anything because religion has provided a foundation for the Constitution and its amendments. Like the actual Constitution, the creation of this country, the Declaration of Independence, all those things were created and have religious fundamental principles, and they govern our society to this day, and they will continue to govern this society until it doesn't exist anymore. That's why I don't discount religious philosophy, but there is, I think, a point in the womb where you can call it a life, and a point where you can't.
No, yeah.
In my opinion, I think that's as soon as the fetus has a heartbeat. What do you think?
I'm not exactly too sure exactly when the heartbeat is first there or whatever. But from what I know, I think it's like at least 6 weeks into the pregnancy
6 weeks. Yeah, 6 weeks.
when a woman knows she's pregnant or not. And I think that's the earliest, right? I'm not 100%
I'm not
sure.
sure.
But I've been hearing about 6 weeks a lot, so I just remember that number, you know? And would you be able to tell me like when the heartbeat first? You know?
I can look that up right now.
Yeah, look it up because you're giving them such a small window, you know. And a lot of the times when people want an abortion, it's because they weren't ready and they didn't know that they were pregnant, you know. Like no one tries to intentionally get pregnant and they're like, oh, never mind, you know, like let me have an abortion. Or let me
So
do it before the heartbeat.
it says right here, your baby's heart starts beating about 22 days after she's conceived, but the earliest you'd be able to tell, or you'd be able to spot
5 weeks.
it on screen is 5 weeks. When can you find out when you're pregnant?
Exactly. See what? So with that argument, when does the woman have this choice of it has a heartbeat or not? That's my thing.
2 weeks. So if it's probably about 2 weeks since you've conceived. Hold on. If you get a positive test result on the first day of your missed period, it's probably about 2 weeks since you conceived. You can use the pregnancy due date calendar to work out when your baby's due. More sensitive tests may be able to confirm that you're pregnant from as early as 8 days after conception.
The thing is, that's only kind of like possible when a woman is raped, where she intends to find out, you know? But if you're just having sex with your partner and it's not planned and it happens, it's not something you're looking for, you know? You're not like wondering, damn, am I pregnant? Until like you start getting some symptoms of it, you know?
Yeah.
So that's the thing, like, it's a very small window for you to be able to stop what you would consider life,
Yeah.
you know?
But do you consider that a life, or like when a fetus has a heartbeat, you don't think that's a life?
Well, I mean, obviously it's alive. It's an organism. You know,
Yeah.
it needs to feed and all that. But the thing is, there's no conscience, and that's the argument that's used to kill animals a lot. You know,
Yeah.
and if that's the argument with animals, then how is it any different from humans? You know.
Yeah. But like you said, the value of a human is placed at a much greater scale, on a much greater platform than the life of an animal.
But that's because we did that. It's not set in stone. It doesn't say anywhere.
Religious philosophy.
If you want to talk about religious philosophy, it said that all of them are equal.
All men are created equal. Yeah.
Same thing with an animal. It says that all something about all of God's beings.
No, just all men are created equal. If you're looking at Christianity, it
No.
doesn't say all animals, all beings. It says all men.
Originally, it says all of what God's creations or beings are supposed to live on the earth peacefully. It doesn't say anything about man being greater than animals. No, that's what I'm trying to get at. And nowhere in the Bible or anything like that I've known, or to my knowledge, says that humans are in fact greater beings than animals. If anything, it says that we're supposed to be, you know, like we're supposed to take care of the animals.
But isn't there a part isn't there a time when you're not supposed to eat meat on like Fridays or something?
Yeah.
So that implies that you are able to eat meat, except for Fridays.
But then again, the thing is with religion, why is religion able to dictate whether or not a woman can have an abortion or not? If you
Look, if this is the problem with people discounting religion. The problem is that people take a lot of things out of context. Like, oh, this is wrong about the Bible. This is wrong about the Bible. But the thing about the Bible and what it does do correctly, or at least in my opinion, is it sets certain fundamental principles down in place, and it's worked pretty well for over 2,000 years. Like, it's what helped found our Constitution, which gives us our natural rights here in the United States.
The thing with that though is if you want to make that argument, it's like oh, shit, I forgot. But if you want to make that argument, in a way, it's like saying, let me see. I just thought about it, but fuck. That's why you don't drink.
That's why you don't drink. That's why you don't get hot wings before.
What were you saying? What were you saying before? You were saying that about. Okay, well, no, I remember. Sorry about that. Okay, if you remember, religion going back, a lot of it was to what? Control the lower classes, right?
Religion?
Religion was.
Religion?
They were. It was originally. Well, not.
Well, what
not
religion
solely,
are you talking about?
Not solely, but I'm talking about religion in general, like just hierarchies, like anything with a belief system. Belief systems in general, they were all, I guess, in my opinion, to an extent. Well, I guess not all. I guess the later religions, they were meant to control masses,
Even Christianity?
Christianity, I feel like, was one of the heaviest to do that. It did that on the.
How so?
Okay, so the thing is that I don't want to get into it too much because it kind of starts to sound more like a conspiracy. But the thing is, religion was, in fact, for a while used to control the lower classes. They were promised like riches and an eternal, like, what is it, like eternal peace if they did what they were supposed to do on earth. Oh, shit. If they did what they were supposed to do on earth, they followed the laws, they prayed, they went to mass, whatever. They listened to the priests, which were owned by who? The ruling classes. A lot of it was manipulation.
Well, yeah, there was no separation. Well, if you're talking about like Constantine's time, like or the time after when the Holy Roman Church took over in Rome, well then you are looking at a unitary state where it's controlled by the religious, I guess, rulers.
Yeah, but that dates back even before that.
Because Christianity itself was created before that. Yeah. Before there was a separation between church and state.
Exactly, but even if you look back to like later or earlier religions and forms of worshiping, it was always the same thing. You were promised a peaceful afterlife, riches in the afterlife, anything you wanted. So far as you listened and obeyed.
I think Christianity described it as eternal peace.
Exactly. See, every religion, every
but it
hierarchy,
doesn't imply that you get, women and this and that and luxury cars in heaven.
That's what I'm saying. But it implies that heavily that if you do what you're told here, you're going to get, peace.
Wouldn't that be to maintain some kind of order?
But again, it's just a form of manipulation,
Well, then you could say the same thing about California state laws. Yeah, we have to obey the laws, and if not, we're going to be punished for it.
But that's more of I feel like that's more of a freedom that you get. I mean, a freedom that you have revoked when you're part of a society, you know what I mean? It's like the whole thing that Freud said. You give up certain pleasures, certain rights, certain instincts to contribute to a greater society. Yeah. Which is supposed to bring like internal happiness, Your contribution to a society is supposed to make you happy,
Yeah.
So that's the precedent for that. So that's why, to me, it seems, I don't know, it just seems that it's used as a scapegoat a lot of times and as a form of manipulation.
Religion. You think religion is a form of manipulation?
Oh, yeah.
I don't think so.
Oh, yeah.
I think religion sets in place values and morals that that have stayed true for many, many years. Of course, there's some things wrong with Christianity, like, hating a gay person just for being gay or not. Or, like, not allowing for gay marriage, There's a lot of things wrong with Christianity. I'm not saying there isn't.
No, yeah, exactly.
But it sets in place certain morals, certain values, like to treat a person the way you want to be treated, to not cause any violence towards your neighbor. Just basic fundamental principles that may be, in fact, as I forgot his name, but there's this guy, I forgot his first name. His last name is Weinstein, though. You know who he is? He came on the Joe Rogan podcast. Eric Weinstein. Not Harvey Weinstein, because people are going to get confused. Eric Weinstein, he said that we might not even need religion. That it's just basic human intuitions, and that's what I believe helped create the Christian philosophy.
That's a lot of what Freud's work talks about, and you guys can go out and read it on your own. Like, it's seriously what he talks about. He says when you contribute to a society or when you take part in a society, a bigger group, there's certain freedoms and pleasures that you give up.
Yeah.
It's
like John Stuart Mill said that too. You're signing into a social contract.
Yeah, you can't just go out and do whatever you want. You have to obey a certain law or laws in order to
be part of a society.
Yeah. And not just to be part of society, but to be part of a successful society.
Yeah.
So it's It's a thin line.
Yeah. The thing about abortion is that you could go in circles with this thing forever because there is no right answer. Like you can't say definitively that it's pro-choice is the right way. Because you yourself can't tell when is it moral to end a life. You know, is it after birth or is it before birth, or at what time during the birthing process or before the birthing process can you end the life? You know, like I said, there's states that still allow to end a baby's life after it's born, like immediately after it's born, and it's still categorized under abortion. But is that necessarily moral? Like, I don't know, and you don't know, and we probably won't know, because, like I said, this argument of abortion, it could go on forever and ever.
And again, the argument is an opinion.
Yeah.
But in all honesty, I'm not like 100% sure why it's even an argument at all. The pro-choice, it's literally in the fucking name, choice. You have the choice whether you want to abort or not.
You have the choice to kill someone or not as well.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. So why is pro-life even like a choice when pro-choice already gives you both options? You know what I mean? Like pro-life doesn't. Okay, pro-choice doesn't mean I'm gonna abort every single baby. It means you have the option, if that's what you want, if you feel that's what's best at the time for you.
Yeah.
Because you got to remember, that baby is in someone, and that someone has their own life, has their own things going.
Yeah.
There's not randomly getting pregnant is not always ideal for everybody, you know. Sometimes a little bit, some people are a little bit more prepared than others. But just because someone says, "Oh, you can't," you know, why is that have?
Well, this is why they make that argument.
And especially, that's true. Like, you know, it's men making these laws. Like,
well, because there's a majority of men in Congress.
But the thing is,
if men were causing a war against women, they would have done that since suffrage, since the women's suffrage movement.
No, man. I'm not even getting into that.
Roe v. Wade, men were on Roe's side.
Well, I mean, obviously, because they were the ones that had the rights. They were able to. They had the say.
Yeah. So where's this men against women like argument coming from? If men are the ones that gave women the right to abortion in 1973 with Roe v. Wade, they gave women the right to suffrage. Most women didn't even want suffrage. Yeah. Men wanted women to get the right to vote, not women. Most women didn't want that to happen because of the draft.
Yeah, they had to enlist.
Yeah. So all that stuff, more men wanted it to pass than women themselves. So I don't understand why people are saying like, oh, it's men against women. Or it's men are violating women's rights.
Yeah, no. To be clear, I'm not making that argument at all. You know.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that it's kind of crazy how. Like, who do you think came up with the bill? Do you really think it was a woman that proposed the bill?
I don't think it matters if it was a man or woman, because they weren't thinking about like, oh, we're gonna do this to cause violence against women or to oppress women. I think that.
Then what? I don't get what the
Christians?
I don't get what the point of it is. You know, like, why do they even have to make this like a law? Why does this have to come to?
Let me tell you what happened. It's not some guy sitting behind his desk like like laughing sinisterly or anything like that. Like, he wasn't like some evil guy plotting this evil plan. It was basically a guy who thought that, or not even just one guy, but like a group of people
sometimes
that legitimately think that women are killing babies by doing abortions. Like, they legitimately believe that abortions cause someone's life to end.
Yeah.
So, and then women are saying, oh, it's my body. You have no right to like take away something from my body or my body. But the thing is that the people on the right don't see it that way. They see it as, oh, there's another living thing inside of you, but it's not you. Once it has a separate heartbeat, whose heartbeat are we dealing with here? Is it yours or is it that separate entity's heartbeat?
But the thing is, women don't go into this saying, oh, I want to have an abortion. You know, like, no girl grows up saying, oh, I want to have an abortion one day. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
It's just an option that they want to have. And why can't they have that option? What makes them believe they have the choice, or they have the ability to say whether the women have a choice or not, you know?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it's not a pleasant experience. Psychologically.
No. Definitely
or
not.
even physically. I'm pretty sure it's not a good experience at all. No girl grows up, like I said, wanting an abortion. It's just something that's circumstantial. Like sometimes it's what's best for you. And what I'm arguing more than anything is what gives anyone else the choice. You know, obviously, like I said, there is a line. There should be a line somewhere where you're like, okay, well, this is like pretty developed already. You know, like adoption would be a better alternative at this point. But same thing, you know, like no one's paying attention to kids that are in the system. You know, like no kids that aren't being adopted. They don't care about them. If they're so pro life, you know, why don't they invest so much money into like programs for them, housing for them? A lot of them are in pretty bad conditions.
In foster homes?
Yeah. It's bad, man. Like they're turning, you know.
So you're
turning
saying
the eye.
that you should have at least the choice to either abort or not.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. I don't get what the argument is. It's pro-choice literally gives you the choice whether you want to do it or not.
For people on the
you know?
right, it'd be this. What you're saying right now for a person on the right, it'd be like, would you give a serial killer the legal authority to kill someone, but you leave it up entirely to them? Like, would you give a serial killer the choice by like legally to kill someone?
Nah, man, but this is not the same thing. That a serial killer is killing people who are alive, who have lives already, who have been around people for years. This is a fetus who has met nobody. A lot of the times, no one even knows the woman is pregnant at that time. You know, they keep it to themselves. They choose to keep it to themselves.
Yeah.
And it's not comparable.
Sometimes
at all.
they don't even tell their partner until
Yeah.
like years after that they had an abortion.
It's not comparable at all. It's trying to compare it to like a serial killer because a person like that knows exactly what they're doing. They're doing it for pleasure. A woman, like I said, it's not doing it for pleasure. They're not looking to get an abortion. They're not, you know, they're not waiting their whole lives. Like, I can't wait to get my abortion on Tuesday. You know?
Yeah. Either way,
it's circumstantial. Like I said, it's sometimes it's what's needed, what's best for the woman. Sometimes it endangers their lives.
But either way, it costs a life.
I mean, not necessarily. Well,
Would you say that a fetus is like an eighth of a life, or like how do you measure this then?
I wouldn't measure it in a percentage, a quantity, or anything. You measure it. Well, to me, you would measure it by someone who has well, I guess I would say someone who has been out of a woman, you know?
Yeah.
If she goes through with her full term, baby comes out, and you kill it, that's a different story, you know? That's way different.
Why?
Okay, look, like I was telling you, before a woman has a kid, it really has no effect on anything. Like, what does it really change in the world or society?
Well, we don't know yet because it hasn't been in the world yet. It hasn't been born.
Exactly.
But it's going to be a full human.
Exactly, but there's nothing for you to take away from that human or nothing to give to that human yet.
But in 9 months, it will be a full human.
I mean, exactly, that's what I'm saying. There's a line that I believe somewhere, you know, where it shouldn't be okay. I guess not okay, but shouldn't be able to abort. And I'm pretty sure there's like complications if you try to abort later on in the term.
Yeah.
You know, I can't be too sure. I'm not exactly sure about it. I'm not a woman. But from my perspective, my understanding, I just feel it's fair to give women the choice to do that if they please to.
To do what?
Abort.
End the life?
Yeah.
Or a possible life, depending on how you see a fetus. It's a hard conversation, man. But the thing is that no one's having it. Right now, everyone's posting on their Instagrams. They're like posting on their Facebooks or their Snapchats, like all the stuff that they didn't even write themselves, or like just different shit. And then there's people that are willing to say, oh, you know, like it should be pro-choice. And then like they don't leave their like thing open for DMs, and they're like, don't DM me. They're like, don't even try to fight me on this. I'm right. Yeah. Don't even try, because I swear to God, I will unfollow you. You know what I mean? I will block you. I will see to it that you don't live a happy life. You know what I mean?
I will report you.
And it's like, if you are that close-minded, how are you ever gonna come to a consensus? You know what I mean?
Yeah, but that's the thing. You see, like I'm not completely like, oh yeah, no matter what, no matter when, no matter how, get rid of that kid. You know, fuck
Yeah.
them kids.
Yeah.
I'm like, to an extent, I guess not even an extent, but I guess a percentage of me would still kind of be pro-choice. Like, okay, after a certain amount of time,
Yeah.
like I'm not sure it's a good thing to do. You know,
Yeah.
because I'm pretty sure there's health complications with it,
Yeah.
and it just kind of seems pretty fucked up at a point. You know.
Yeah.
But when there's no consciousness, when it's a new thing, it's like it hasn't contributed anything. No one hasn't met anybody, hasn't impacted anybody, but the woman and whoever she decides to tell.
So, okay, here's the good news for people that are on the pro-choice side. So, people that are like me and you right now. So, people that are on the pro-choice side, there is a law now in place in Alabama that says that it's a criminal action to have an abortion. However, it's still by constitutional law legal. So you could still have an abortion.
It's like weed, yeah.
Yeah, because of Roe v. Wade. Yeah, Roe v. Wade has set that precedent already. And the only way that it goes into like full criminalization and there's people enforcing the laws here with this kind of like policy in place is if Roe v. Wade gets overturned, which there's still no signs that that's going to happen anytime soon.
No.
And it's a fucking historical court case, Roe v. Wade. So it's been there since 1973. Yeah. And I doubt that anytime soon it's going to get overturned. But for people that are pro-choice, you should really like look into that, you know, because eventually it's going to come down to a vote, you know, or Supreme Court ruling. If it's the case that Donald Trump appoints like different justices and then they set the whole thing backwards. Yeah.